know this, homelessness, a big problem in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, particularly for folks who are mentally ill and those who are just getting out of jail. We've seen it more of a revolving door situation for these people, particularly with the jails that cost the county a lot of money. Now folks are stepping up to try to help solve this problem. This includes Junction. Jeremy Reynolds from there to talk about this morning. Good morning, Jeremy. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Matt. Hey, I want to know how you are so energetic and just like bouncy in the morning. You're just running around here just like you.
I ask myself that question all the time. I don't know. When I leave here, I get real tired. But I want to talk with you about this issue. You know, last week the county, you were at the meeting, County Commission, Bernalillo County said, we're going to give up $1 million to get 75 beds for homeless people who are just getting out of jail and who are mentally ill to go ahead and get some treatment. And on top of that, you said, Junction, we'd like to offer up 15 beds on top of the 75 to go ahead and help out. So with all this, how big of an issue is not just homelessness in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, but particularly homelessness with people who are mentally ill and getting in trouble with the law?
I think it's a huge issue. And some of it we see, some of it we obviously see, and some of it is like under the table.
Sure.
It's not immediately obvious. But I think people need to know we have a real serious issue here in Albuquerque and in New Mexico. It's a huge issue.
Is there any estimate right now on the number of homeless people in the city?
Oh, that depends on who you talk to. Years ago, it used to be 1,200. Albuquerque schools have come out with a number, though, that says 6,000 homeless kids in school.
Yeah.
But, now get this, of course, this depends on how you define numbers. HUD does what's called a point-in-time count, and they said, I think, 1,700 people from New Mexico, but they don't define homelessness the same way.
Okay.
So somewhere between 1,200 and 1,220,000. You know.
So either way, it's a huge
issue.
And you talk about mental illness being involved in that. So what you would like to do, you're going to have a meeting with the county next week to talk about officially getting on board with the plan. You'd like to take some mentally ill people in and give them homes for a long-term period, right?
Yeah, we really want to help. We have a long history going back with the jail. Some of our long-time listeners will remember there were some jail issues a few years back. And back then what used to happen, the jail guards used to call us every night to say, hey, we have Matt, we'll just have you in jail for the evening. And you didn't have any place to go when you had to leave jail. They'd call us and say, we have Matt, can you help us out with him? And we would say yes. We would send the vans to the downtown area, and we would take care of Matt, we would help Matt, and we would help the jail. Now we want to do the same thing with the homeless, mentally ill, as long as they're not violent or as long as they don't have issues with sexual issues.
Okay, because you have a lot of families and kids who stay at your place. So what kind of program would they go through? How do you deal with, it's easier, I should say, to deal with the issue of, okay, let's give these people a bed for a night or for 6 months, a year. How do you deal with the mental health issues?
Well, it will be harder, and we will work with case managers and other folks to make sure we were showing these folks whatever it was that they needed. Of course, one thing to make sure would be that they're on their meds, and that, again, Matt, as we discussed before being on air, that is the real issue. Right.
Okay, so there's a law. What's the name of the law again?
Kendra's law.
In
many states, and it was a law that Mayor Marty Chavez, I believe, tried to get through a few years ago, but everybody said, no, you can't have it, and it came to a vote in the council, and they decided to vote it down, saying to have such a law was a violation of people's civil liberties.
Okay, so the law you're talking about, what it does is it forces people who are going through a treatment program and who have mental issues to go ahead and basically they have to take their meds.
Have to take them, because then it gives them a life.
So as I've heard that it really does make a big difference in people's lives who have, we're talking seriously mentally ill people.
Huge difference.
Schizophrenic, paranoid, or something like that. So if they're on their meds, then they're treatable, they can get jobs and all of that.
Yes, yes.
And you think that's one of the big keys to at least helping this problem and helping the county and the city?
That could be and almost would be a huge key in helping this supportive housing program become a total success instead of somewhat of a success.
Absolutely. Do you think there's any chance of that happening going forward with the city or the county or the state?
I think there are certain groups in town that if it comes to a vote and the council decides to vote for that law, these votes will come ahead and sue.
Okay.
I think it's very sad. They're concerned about the religious liberties, civil liberties rather, of the homeless, mentally ill. But hey, they're so concerned about their liberties that they may die in their liberties.
Sure. Real quick, last thing. How quickly, if everything goes okay with the county next week, could we see you guys take in some folks from the jail and start helping out?
We will be willing to do so within a month.
Okay. So basically by the end of July.
Yeah.
If everything works out. Okay. Jeremy Reynolds, Joy Junction, very important issue. Thanks for coming on and
Thanks,
talking
Matt.
about us. Give us an update. Let us know how things go.
We will indeed.